Okay, well, I determined that I have never actually formally reviewed probably one of my favorite movies of all time, the one and only Fifth Element from 1997. Now, truth be told, I've watched this movie probably 1,000 times. It's an incredible visual experience. Every single time you watch The Fifth Element, you pick up on new things. You see new visions. You see new interesting details that you'd never picked up before. You see aspects of the characters that are different and unique that you never realized after viewing it many times over. It is truly one of the most rewatchable movies ever made. And the setting is absolutely brilliant. It takes place during a kind of a far dystopian future where humanity is incredibly spread out, and we've uh, gone to the stars, and we've almost seemingly overpopulated Earth. It is an incredible movie where its actually best part about it is it's very ambiguous on the different factions, the different alien races, the different details of what makes this society, and the different governments and different aspects of this very far future civilization. And of course, the characters are absolutely brilliant as well. And you couldn't actually talk about The Fifth Element if it wasn't for its lead character, Bruce Willis, as the incredible Corbin Dallas. Now, it is heart wrenching to see Bruce Willis have gone from such an incredible, stoic hero badass that he was in The Fifth Element to where he is today, where he is a very advanced medical condition, where he is very unaware of surroundings. It's very heartbreaking, and my heart goes out to Bruce Willis and his family. And of course, Mila Jovovich is in it as well as the stunning Lilu. And now she is a very cool character. She's very, very awesome. She's flipping around. She's almost got an infantile personality about her. And like, what can you say about Mila Jovovich? She is such a stunning actor. She's been in so many incredible movies that we loved over the years, and she is just incredible in this movie. Absolute breakout role, and truly great chemistry between her and Willis. Of course, Gary Oldman is in this, who's an incredible actor as well. He's Zorg, this kind of, a dictator like character who's definitely got evilness, but he plays this kind of laissez faire, kind of, wonky a businessman type to him, and he is truly awesome in this. Gary Oldman, man, like what can you say about the guy? He's such a legend. And in as Zorg, he plays a very, very, very interesting villain-esque character who's like kind of the villain, but not the main villain. Kind of a likable character, kind of not a likable character. Gary Oldman's a legend. Now, without a doubt, the actor and the character that steals the show for me every single time, and I cannot help but watch him every scene he's in, is the one and only Chris Tucker as Ruby Rhod. Ruby Rhod is an incredible character. He's wacky, he's zany, he's silly, and he has some of the best scenes in the entire movie, including his relationship with Corbin Dallas, which is can only be described as a stupid celebrity with a badass mercenary. There's probably one of my favorite scenes in the movie between the two when Ruby Rhod first introduces himself to Corbin Dallas, who thinks he's just an absolute pleb idiot, a nobody who won a triple lifetime, and he's gonna just tell him how it is, and he's in his face and he's barking orders at him, and Corbin Dallas just grabs him by the throat and puts him up against the wall and says, "Hey, look, I'm not some regular moron," and kind of puts him in his place. It's great, and it's scenes like this, including the gunfight scenes at the end, where the play between the two of dorky, silly celebrity with the badass mercenary military dude is so incredible. And Corbin Dallas and Ruby Rhod are one of the most generational relationships and interplays in movie history. Now, the badassery of Bruce Willis in as Corbin Dallas in this shines through throughout the whole movie. There's an incredible scene when he goes to negotiate with a bunch of aliens and he just shoots the leader in the head and says, "Anybody else want to negotiate?" It's an incredible scene. I never get sick of it. It's so freaking good. And there's more scenes like this out there where he's just kind of I would describe Corbin Dallas as he's kind of just a broken hero, so to speak. He's very stoic and strong, but yet he's got an emotional side, and he's struggled with various depths, including his love life, including his successes and failures in life. And despite having incredible military training and abilities and special forces operations, he just kind of wants to be a regular guy. And then in the end of the movie, he realizes that his heroic nature is his best way of getting what he wants in life. So, despite all the great acting in The Fifth Element, like I said, probably one of the greatest aspects of the movie is its vision of this future world, which is so unbelievably rewatchable because it's very unique. It's almost retro future, it's almost future dystopian. It's portrayal of these gigantic cityscapes with endless flying cars and endless rows of buildings that go as far as the eye can see are an incredible vision, and it really showcases a future world that is just so unbelievably big and complex, yet all these stories interplay amongst them, and all this technology, although far in the future, feels also kind of particularly 90s. I would call this the most retro future 90s depiction we've ever seen. And it's got this beautiful aesthetic about it, and all the technology where it's kind of garbage everywhere. It's kind of dusty and dirty, but yet at the same time it's very futuristic, and it's very, I would call it a very realistic depiction of what the future probably looked like during the early 90s. It's such a good movie, and like I said, with the rewatchability, it's just infinite. It's infinite. You can see it so many times and see so many actions and see so many different ways of vision of the future that it just never gets old. And I've watched it so many times with it just on in the background, and every time you look over, you see it just a new thing you've never seen before. It's so good. So, I mean, I couldn't really give Fifth Element a score because it's one of my favorite movies of all time. It's a movie I've seen so many times and I have so many great memories with, including seeing it originally in the theaters when I was a young lad. It You can't really give it a score. It's a perfect 10 out of 10 movie. It's a great movie. I love it. I watch it hundreds more times, and never get sick of seeing this movie. But it does have some downsides as well. Let's be fair with this all. It does have some things that irk me. For example, it has a very, very quickly wrapped up story. The Fifth Element movie is all you get. You don't get in that Fifth Element 2, even though I would dream of something of that nature, especially bringing up back the original cast, which I doubt you can do now because of Bruce Willis. But there are other things you could do there. So you don't get any more of the Fifth Element. It just kind of wraps itself up and it's over with. You don't really get much more world building than is already existing. I want to learn more about the world. I want to learn about the different alien factions. I want to learn about this world government. Where did humanity come from? Where has humanity gone? And where will humanity end up after the events of the film? These are all questions that don't really get answered. But at the same time, you can't really fault it because it's just a nicely confined story. We don't have a Fifth Element 2, although I wouldn't be surprised if they made a show or a TV. It's a beloved sequel. You still got Mila Jovovich. Yeah, it could do it. I don't know if they can do it. I wouldn't even know where to begin with a script for Fifth Element 2, but Mila Jovovich is possibly one of the more best options. You know, her continuation, maybe Bruce Willis, something happened to him. You couldn't get Bruce Willis probably to be another Corbin Dallas. That's heartbreaking. But yeah, big downside of the Fifth Element is there's no more of it. Another character that always kind of took a side step to me is the character Ian Holm as Father Cornelius. Now, Cornelius is a complex character because although he is kind of funny and goofy and always running around too, he doesn't really make much of a difference in the grand scheme of things. He's kind of just there. The thing about Cornelius is that he is kind of like the supposed to be the the person everyone's following, but yeah, at the same time he's just kind of there in the background. So I would like Cornelius's character to kind of be more fleshed out and to get on. There's an excellent scene when he fails and he's at the end and he's at the bar with talking with a shooting the crap with a robot, just saying like drunk Cornelius talking about all his failures, but you don't get as much of Cornelius as that would have been cool. I mean, this is a movie. I could, if it was 7 hours long, I would have been floored. This could have been 3 movie trilogy, and I would have been so happy. So yeah, some of the characters really don't get the light of day. You don't get a lot of President Lindbergh, Tommy Lister. You don't get a lot of these characters who are very iconic and very interesting. But I mean, you do get enough of the Ruby Rhods, the Corbin Dallases, and the Lelus, and Gary Oldman to make it up for some of the characters that kind of took a back seat over everything. Other than that, there is very little you can potentially think badly of The Fifth Element. It's a perfect 10 out of 10 movie. Love it. Absolutely love it. Even Luke Perry's Billy character at the beginning of the movie, something as simple as just the very beginning movie, the very beginning characters, it's just also, a good part, even though it's just, a storytelling portion of it. There's so much to The Fifth Element, so much that makes it a good movie that it's hard to even describe, really. It's like we just don't get movies this unique, this interesting, and just completely creative freedom anymore. It's someone made a movie who had a vision of a very, very, very cool story. And I grew up just being optimistic about the future for The Fifth Element, just thinking of how cool it is to that movies can portray something so interesting and far off worlds and depictions of reality as The Fifth Element, and characters so amazingly awesome like Corbin Dallas as Bruce Willis. Yeah, like you cannot begin to describe how much I wanted to be just like Corbin Dallas when I was younger. I looked up to him like he was some hero, and that's probably what The Fifth Element was going for, is making him out to be that stoic, badass hero that all of us, want in the future. So yeah, obviously The Fifth Element is a cult classic movie. It is just like the definition of this movie that I remember when it came out in the 90s, and it was just there. It was just like boom, blockbuster. Everybody would go to see it. It was a cool vision of the future. It left you thinking for a long time after, and it ran on TV forever. And I would always watch it because there was nothing like having and there still is nothing like having The Fifth Element just running in the background, trying to see if you can figure out the different angles of it. It's a very, very, very good movie, and you know what? It is possibly one of the most unique movies ever made. So yeah, I mean, I never formally reviewed Fifth Element. All I can do is say to go watch it. Most of the people probably did watch it. My perspective of the movie is it's probably one of the best sci-fi, at least the most unique and interesting sci-fi movies ever made. It's just a great movie. You can't help but give it a perfect score. It's so great. And it just brings you harkens back to a time period when people could just come up with these interesting ideas. It didn't have to have established franchises. It didn't have to have, guaranteed box office success. People could just make up a creative idea, visions of the future, and come up with it. It really was an a monumental movie of the time, and it still is worth watching over and over and over and over again. It's a movie sometimes when you watch and want to watch it over again just to see what else you can see of it. See the different visions of the future, see the different technologies they use, see the different kinds of things there, see Bruce Willis in his glorious Corbin Dallas persona. It is a movie that is eternally good and is one of my favorite movies of all time. I've had many successful dates with the Fifth Element and say, "Hey, what do we watch?" Fifth Element is like it never fails. And man, Fifth Element is just a great movie to have on, whether you're gaming, hanging out with friends, showing it off for the first time, doing anything. It's a movie everybody has to see, and it is truly amazing. I love The Fifth Element. I think it's one of the greatest movies ever, and I will continue always coming back to this fantastical sci-fi adventure. Peace out. And as a side note, Ruby Rhod, oh man, Chris Tucker just is incredible. I would die for a spin-off movie of Ruby Rhod. Man, would I ever love it. Please make it happen. Ruby Rhod, The Adventures of, watch it, make it a movie. It would be the greatest thing ever. I just would love more Ruby Rhod. Gotta have more of Ruby Rhod. So yeah, those are my thoughts on The Fifth Element. Let me know what you think. I think it's one of the greatest movies of all time. I love it dearly. I'll watch it over and over and over again. It never gets old. Truly love The Fifth Element.